Hey, this is Mo, aka Monique, aka Nubia Sunshine, as most know me on Facebook. For those who don't know me, it's Nubia Sunshine. um, and I come to you today with my first inspirational blog, video blog, that is. And I hope to be an inspiration for those who are interested in going into the fashion industry, as well as being an inspiration in life in general. I get from so many people how much I've been an inspiration to them, just those who know me and know what my journey consists of to this very moment, who are inspired by me and I'm inspired by them. So I just hope to be like a wonderful inspiration to you all as I share my journey and my experience with you. Um, and working in the fashion industry for quite some time. I started in the fashion industry in 1997. Actually, just coming into the industry, not really knowing anything about designing. I got very little education on it. When I went to college, I went to Nassau Community College, to where I learned my major actually was fashion merchandising and design. I really didn't even go into the design aspect because I really had doubted myself as a designer. Because even in high school, I didn't even sew anything. I didn't even put anything together. All I did was a bunch of sketches and some things that I thought looked cute. I was doing comic books, and my comic book characters had some fly outfits. So with that, I thought maybe, I need to, maybe I should go into design, with an encouragement from an English teacher of mine who really liked my sketches. She really kind of influenced me to look into it. And I really didn't know what that was about. So when I went to Nassau Community College, I went in for merchandising and wanted to learn the whole business and the retail end of it, not really knowing that merchandising has a little bit of design concepts in it today. As I knew it back then, it didn't dawn on me like that, and I didn't see it that way. But today I see that a lot of merchandisers do have design concepts and actually design with the designer. So, but that was the direction that I went in. And after I finished at Nassau Community College, I transferred to FIT and I continued merchandising as my major. I kind of, just loved the whole energy of FIT and just all the different students that came from different countries and just the whole diverse nature of that whole fashion um, energy, and it was really interesting, and it was for me, a girl out of Long Island, just coming into the city and looking at all the differences. It was amazing to me. After graduating from FIT, and I kind of chilled out for a little bit and stayed home, and I was a single mom, so I stayed home with my two little ones, and in that time, I didn't stray away from the fashion industry. Actually, my mom, who always encouraged me to do what was in my heart. And if it was designed, then that's what I would do. But she always encouraged me, and she bought me a sewing machine, a home sewing machine, and I said, what, now would be the time for me to learn how to utilize this thing, you know. So I started going out and buying fabrics and things like that, and just like practicing on the machine. There was times I would throw fabric on the floor and just cut out certain things and make something, and lo and behold, I didn't know I was making something that I could actually wear. And the amazing thing about it is that I got to the point where I started making my children's clothes, and not even using patterns, just like throwing things on the floor and just like trying to figure it out. And I basically did. I made a lot of mistakes, but then I also learned how to be able to be creative. And a lot of people used to stop me on the street and just be like, "Oh, where did you get that from?" And a lot of times I'm like, "I made it," and they're like, "Wow, you made it. You should get that patent." And to me, I was like, "Patent? I don't know what the heck that is." Maybe they're telling me I should have a business. Because in fashion design, you can't patent a style or garment. So to me, I took it as they're encouraging me to do something wonderful. At the time I didn't really even look at it as starting my own business. I looked at it as, okay, I got a nice little thing going. So I continued to make my kids' clothes, my clothes, and I had some people who really admired what I did, and I started making little things for them. And behind that, some people had invited me to do some fashion shows and things at colleges and events and luncheons and things like that. And I was like, okay, so I just put together like a little 15-piece line. I had used my sister as a muse. I used Moza just to be able to drape things on and put things on her, and turned out really nice, very nice. I did a fashion show at one college, and a lot of the students there developed a following for me. So every year I was always the premier designer to come back and do a show with them, and it felt really special to kind of get people to like what you're doing and like you as a person. So it kind of put me in a place of feeling good about what I was doing. And with that, I had decided, what, maybe I should start my own clothing line. I seem to have a niche to be able to give people what they like, and with that, I started to look up how to be able to manage my own business, how to be able to do this, and taking courses, learning business management and stuff like that, to the point where I finally decided and came up with a name for my business. And it was through a suggestion of a friend of mine who was a reverend at the church I was going to at the time. He suggested, why don't you choose something that's kind of spiritual, because you have that spiritual energy about you. And I didn't want to be over religious, because, people tend to shy away from religion, especially when it comes to clothing, because it's like, you're trying to push something on people, and you don't want to push nobody into getting into something that they truly don't know anything about. People don't want to be just labeled. So for me, I had to look up something that really made sense to me and that was translatable in that way where it can be worn by everybody. So what I did was I just happened to, go through my Bible and my Old Testament, and I had looked up just a word that stuck out to me that said was Cushite in the Bible. And Cushite, as I looked it up and I looked on the internet to find the meaning, so I found it said it meant black African people, and some other translations it was Ethiopian people or people of Ethiopia. And since I really had no foundation of where my ancestors came from in Africa, kind of related to it, and I used it. And instead of using the whole word Kushite, I used Kush. And instead of spelling it with a C like it's normally spelled, I spelled it with a K. So with that, it was like, you know what? Here I got a name. I have an idea, and let me get my whole business in order. So I continued to do fashion shows, and I worked alongside other home-based designers who were African American like myself, who were doing things in their home. And just the same as I, throwing things on the floor, throwing things on the table, wherever you could find space to cut fabric, we was doing it. And we all kind of built an allegiance with one another because we were always running into each other at different shows. We were always bumping into each other. So we started developing relationships, and a lot of these shows that we did were like in nightclubs and things like that, which is really not ideal for anybody to be doing a fashion show in a nightclub in the dark where people are drinking and partying, not really looking and paying attention to your artistry and your craft, really just there to support their friends or really just there to hang out and maybe look at some stuff but not really purchase your stuff. So it wasn't ideal for what I was trying to do. So eventually I was like, I'm over this. I think I need to go back and get some education about how I'm doing what I'm doing, because I did one show that was at the Javits Center where it was the Circle of Sisters. It was the first Circle of Sisters when they first came to the Javits Center, and I was invited to the show to showcase my designs. And the amazing thing was that right off the backs of the models, people wanted the garments when they saw them, and it amazed me because I was just like, wow, you want my sample? And people were like, yeah, I will buy your sample. and I did not want to part with my samples because I was just like, this is all I have. But I can take an order and we could sit down and we can customize something for you, and that's how I had to work it out because even the models wanted to keep the clothes that I made. And I was just like, I can't do that. It's not cheap to make these garments. So with that, I said, I'm getting these orders. I need to go to school. Just throwing fabric on the floor is not going to work anymore. And just have my little 3-year-old daughter helping me cut stuff. Ain't gonna work no more. Talk about child labor. But I got to the point where I said, Monique, you gotta go back to school. And with that, what I did was I went back to school and I went back and got a design degree. Took me 3 years to get it done, which was, for me, bust my tail to do it, but it had to be done. On top of that, I also worked in the industry for a company called the Ground Crew. So I did some part-time work with that company, which was headed by Audrey Smalls, and she created it for backstage or fashion show production. Just the production that goes on backstage at fashion shows and things like that. And the amazing thing about working there was that we were able to work as dressers. At the time, it was called dressers rather than what we call now stylists. And what we did as dressers is we were part of the backstage production where we got the model dressed in their garments, got them on the runway, got them off the runway, took the clothes off real quick, put them in the next look. We organized the boards that were in front of the garments where the stylist had set everything up. Some people who worked in the ground crew worked in hair, worked in makeup, just anything that had to do with backstage production was what the ground crew was about. And I mainly was a stylist, a dresser at the time. And worked with the ground crew for several years. And we did all the major shows that were in Bryant Park at that time, where all the designers came into Bryant Park and was in the tents from Mercedes-Benz fashion shows. And we worked for Donna Karan and Michael Kors. We worked for Yoli and Oscar de la Renta and Carolina Herrera and all those big major designers, and even some designers that I didn't even know, never even heard of, we worked for. And so it gave me a wealth of experience of being able to work backstage and get to learn all of these designs, so it was amazing, and after doing that and graduating from school, I decided, what, let me work in the business. Let me make my connections. Let me make my contacts for my own business. I still had KUSH at Bay, and I was still thinking about it. And but I said I still need more skill. I still need more learning. I still need more experience. I worked for several companies and working in junior clothing and doing sweaters and learning to be a designer and starting as an assistant designer for small companies, small private label companies, a lot of companies that worked with Federated and Jones, and I worked in Victoria's Secret for a little bit as a designer there, and just in and out of different places. It wasn't until I went to Sean John where I actually got the meat and potatoes of what I do. And I was a designer then, but then when I got to Sean John, I had a little bit of experience in doing measurements and stuff, but I just had decided that I wanted to become a technical designer. So, with that being said, you say, what's a technical designer? A technical designer is a person who takes a flat sketch and turns it into a wearable garment, a three-dimensional garment. How we do that? How we do that is that we take this flat sketch the designer creates in a tech pack. And in the tech pack, what they do is they break down all the different components, the details and the colorways and the threads that are being used. Everything that goes into a garment is in this tech pack. And what I do is I look at it from the fit perspective. If they want a medium, then I have to look at the fit model that we usually fit on, and I take the dimensions from the fit model and I create measurements like the sleeve length, the chest measurement, the body length, how long do we want it, the neck opening and all those things. And I have to put them on a sheet called the spec sheet. The spec sheet lists all the components of the garment and all the measurements created by the technical designer. And then what happens is we send this tech pack over to China or to wherever our vendor is located, and what they do is they create a pattern and they create a sample. And with that pattern and sample, they send it back to me, and which is called a prototype or development garment, and I fit it on the fit model. I observe it, after measuring it, because you do have to measure it first, just to see if it meets your measurements, if it follows the pattern, and if the construction is acceptable, as well as the fabric. So you had to know your fabrications. You needed to know what was stretching, what fabrics were able to be manipulated in a certain way to alter your measurements. So it took some science and some math and some technology to understand what was going on with the chemistry of the garment. And I learned all of that at Sean John, under the tutelage of Onyx Purviance, who was my supervisor, and she was the VP of Technical Design and Quality Assurance. And which I honor her, and I say thank you, Onyx, because you've taught me everything I know, and you taught me to be a beast in what I do and love what I do. And if it wasn't for her, then I wouldn't be able to continue to do what I do. So I thank her, and I give homage to her and honor her. But with that being said, I was able to take everything that she taught me and carry it over to other places. So after leaving Sean John, after going to a different range of companies back into women's wear and things like that, I finally landed up at Catherine Malandrino. And when I landed at Catherine Malandrino, I was excited because this was a company I've always wanted to work for, and ever since she came around, I wanted to work for her. So it was very exciting to be able to do that. And but it came with sacrifice. I took a pay cut. I didn't work in a supervisory position like I should have, like I was working at other places. So it was a lot of things that I had to sacrifice in order to work there, as well as my weekends and my time in my life. But I loved what I did. So I always say to people, if you don't love what you do in life, you're never going to be happy. So the sacrifice came with the fact that I loved what I do. So I was willing to sacrifice to continue to do it. And no matter what the cost was, and not really thinking about that too well, especially with my time, so much of my time being at work, you know. So, but it got to a point where things in my life started to change. My mom became ill and developed pancreatic cancer late in 2012, which really made me take a look back at, just step back and look at myself and say, Monique, do you know what's even going on? You're working and your children are growing so fast and everything is spinning around you so fast and everything is surrounded by work. Do you even know who you are? And it was the thing where I had to ask that question, because really, did I? And we don't realize that until life has to put us in a position where we have to face ourselves directly in the mirror. At the same time, God had brought somebody into my life who was a wonderful friend, who opened my eyes up to just having gifts. I really doubted myself in a lot of ways, and I had a low self-esteem about who I was, so I didn't open up as much as I should have through the course of life, and people find that surprising to know, but it is true. What you come off as is not really how you see yourself. You got to kind of put that exterior around you to protect yourself. And that's a lot of what I was doing, was like protecting myself from dealing with me. And this person kind of came into my life and made me take a really good look at myself in the mirror. I mean, broke me down, and that's what a friend will do for you. Come into your life and say, look, heifer, this is what you need to do, and you need to be on it. And this is what this person was for me. So as I began to do soul searching and meditating and learning more about me and getting closer to my divinity, the job place became toxic. I mean, so toxic that I would get pain in my back. So much pain that I couldn't even, in the mornings, I would have to have my daughter come lift me up out of bed, like help me get up. And then I would have nightmares about getting fired from my job. And I'm like, why am I having these nightmares? Like, I don't understand. I got a good relationship at my job. I don't understand why I would be getting fired. and it just kept haunting me. And as I told my friend, he was just like, it's the universe supporting you leaving that job. And I was just like, I didn't really pay any mind to it, but the dreams kept coming and coming and coming, and the pain was even greater. And till one day that I actually had the altercation that I had in the dream that led me to get fired actually played out. Word for word for word. As I talk to you here, that's how vivid the dream was. So when it played itself out, I jumped back and I stopped myself. All short of me getting fired, I stopped myself because I saw it happening. And when you see something that you can stop from happening, you see it ahead of time, and you know that you can stop it, you stop. So, but at the end of the day, it really did say to me, it's time for you to go. This is not a healthy environment for you to work in. Your mom is ill from many years of stress and things that she went through. Do you want to live that life? Do you want to continue to work somewhere where you're not happy and you're not fulfilled in doing something for someone else when you have this business here that you could be doing and fulfilling for yourself? So with that, I had to say, you know what, I'm going to take a leap of faith. And everything in the universe was supporting me doing KUSH. Like KUSH was even saying, what's going on? You went into the industry to kind of like learn to build me, and you forgot about me. So here I have this business, this my baby who's crying and crying and crying and wants my attention, and all these things are happening to push me in that direction to give that attention, and I had to deal with it and I had to face it, and that entailed me standing, in front of this window metaphorically and saying, do you jump or do you stand there and be tortured to jump? And I took a leap of faith and I jumped right out the window with no net below me, with no parachute, with no fear. And as I jumped, thinking I'm going to fall straight down, the universe gave me these wings and I began to coast. And ever since then, the universe has been supporting me because I decided to not have any fear, and I decided to honor myself by doing what I love to do. The amazing thing about it is that a month ago I had learned that I have a great-great-grandmother, or I had a great-great-grandmother who was a seamstress like me. And she was very popular in the South during the time where I think it was the end of slavery. Somewhere in South Carolina in her township, she was one of the best seamstresses in that neighborhood, in that township. And whites and blacks alike bought all her garments that she created, and like me, she threw it on the floor and came up with some stuff and made it and was really good at it. So I was like amazed to find that out, that her name was Lily Robinson, and she was a seamstress, and I felt so enlightened and touched, because here I am, a continuation of Miss Lily Robinson and doing the same exact thing that she was doing. And it's a beautiful thing to know that you carry on to what your ancestors have set forth for you, especially when it's something positive and being able to have your own business. Now, I don't know for sure if she had her own business from a legal standpoint of it, but she turned what she loved to do into a business, and she was successful at it. And that's something that she honored herself. So when I in turn am doing the same thing, it makes me feel so honored to know that I am in alignment with what my ancestors have set forth for me, and it's a wonderful thing to know. And what I say to you, and my encouragement to you at the end of this all, is just that to follow your dreams, follow what's in your heart, because someone had someone in your family or someone that your ancestors had done something to in order to create that path for you. And if you don't honor that and not go down that path, you continue to be in a place of unhappiness or just not satisfied. There are people who, as they get older, say they wish they could have did what they loved as a career rather than working for someone else, and not honoring their spirit. So my words to you is just honor your spirit. Most of all, listen to that voice inside of you. Never doubt you know, what it comes natural to you. There's something that you love to do and that you feel so fulfilled at the end of the day that you need to do it, then do it. You know, don't waste another day giving all your energy and all your talents and your gifts to someone else and someone else's company to build when you can put it into your own thing. And you don't necessarily have to work for someone, or work for yourself. You can go into a company and do what you love. If you're in a field that you didn't even want to be in, and you want to go into another field, take that leap of faith. Can't nothing go wrong when you are doing what you are honoring yourself. The only thing that can happen is all that is wonderful and great will be magnetically connected to you because you are honoring yourself. And once you honor and you love yourself, only love can come to you, you know, and you will be supported by everything. You'll be amazed on how you'll be able to get by. Like, I am amazed. I'm not a rich woman. I don't have, you know, crazy financial success everywhere. I'm being supported by the universe and the love that is surrounded by me, and it is enough to allow me to be able to encourage you today and just say, don't worry about those things. Because once you honor your spirit and once you honor yourself and put yourself in a place of love, you're only going to receive that in return. And it's going to be so amazing, and you're going to be so overwhelmed that you're not going to be able to stop talking about it. Like, I can't stop talking about it. And that's why I'm here with you today, to encourage you. You know, so as I take up all your time, I know I'm taking up all your time, and I surely can talk. I just want to say to honor yourself. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to jump out there. If there's signs and things that are coming to you and telling you you should do it, you should honor that and listen to it. Don't wait another day for it, you know, because you never know, you know, suffering a little bit more for what you want, you know, is it worth it at the end of the day to miss out on your dreams? So as I come to you and I encourage you, I also ask that you follow me. You know, I may be able to do this a little bit more often, and hopefully I can share a little bit of my wisdom and my experiences. I'm not an expert on anything by no means, but I do love to be able to share, you know, and contact me directly if you have any questions, or if you just need someone to talk to be able to vent and get that out and decide how you want to go ahead and live your dreams, because you know it'll best benefit you, you know. So I would say just thank you for checking me out, and continue to follow me on Facebook. I also have a Facebook page for KUSH. It's called KUSH Designs on Facebook. Once you go into to my page, you'll get all that stuff because I'm always advertising. I'm always, you know, putting the word out. So check me out, and maybe I get to do this again and see you again. But thank you so much, and God bless.